One of the best topics I've ever brought up to my audience. I'm bringing it up again because it's all about hair. Yes, the hair on our head, especially as we age in midlife. So many questions about hair. Now, first of all, full transparency, I actually have extensions in my head as we talk, mostly for fullness, not necessarily for length for me. And they're not coming out of my head. I've had them for, about 20 years. But just like a lot of women in menopause, I'm starting to get that thinning on the side of my head and in my parts, and have been really exploring and experimenting what things I can do to have that grow back, to have it fill in. And as I started sharing this on social media and on my podcast and on YouTube, more and more questions and suggestions started to come in. So I've been really in this theme of let's explore, why do we lose hair? What can we actually do to restore it? What are our options? And does it have to be so time consuming or expensive? So today I thought I would bring on my new friend, Jess Hallock, who is the founder of Ensemble Hair and also Jess Salon in Arizona. But she is an expert when it comes to all things hair. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to be in for a nice show because you're going to see some things here too today. But I have a lot of questions for her, and I think you'll enjoy this conversation. So thank you so much for being here today, Jess.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to talk about this.
So I want to start with, why the heck does this happen? Why do we lose hair? It's like this cruel joke. It's this like we become wiser as we age. And Jess, you're younger than me, and I know a lot of your clients, but I know you hear this complaint. What the heck is going on? Like after 50, hair, I just started losing it. What's happening?
Well, honestly, it's not just happening at 50 anymore. It's happening so much younger. And most of my clientele is more 35 to 65. So this is not something that's exclusive to a certain age group, but more often than not, it's inflammation. So it used to be purely just aging or, traditional alopecia, but more often it's an inflammation response. It is an imbalance of hormones. It's stress related, but I feel like if you sneeze, you lose hair right now. So you're not alone.
It's like I didn't even realize it was this gradual thing over time where I'm thinking, I was joking with my husband, I have a 5 head. I'm like, my head used to be a 4 head, and then now it's a 5 head. And it's not that our forehead grows, but I did look it up on ChatGPT. It's a real thing. Your hairline starts moving back slightly. So we might not notice it day to day, but if you ladies, I don't mean to freak you out, but look at your photos later. Like go look at a picture of you in high school and then look at it now. Our foreheads are 5 heads. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see on some, I don't have this part, but some of the women, their parts start separating. And then
that's
also
really common.
The side thing, like definitely I'm losing it more on one side than the other. And then also just thinning in general. Like it feels like your hair doesn't grow as long as you once could grow it.
Yeah, I feel like that's more what's common is the all over thinning. I feel like people were, if they were losing it in a specific area, they could narrow down what that was happening. But it's all over thinning. They're like, I literally have half the hair that I did last year, and I don't know why. So I feel like that's more the conversation that keeps coming up.
You know what else is a cruel little joke in menopause? You start losing hair on your head, and it starts growing in other places in your body.
Don't tell me that.
Like you find a whisker. You're like, what? Okay, thanks. Why do I have a whisker?
We're not relocating. That's not the plan.
Yeah. Okay. First, so I know you see clients all over the place, and I want to start with like, what can be done? There's so many options out there. And I know I shared recently how I experimented with OneSkin's peptide, their OS1, and I actually didn't think it was doing anything. And then over time, when I looked at pictures, I did see a noticeable difference on where I was applying it. But how do people decide? Like, what do you know about like Rogaine or pills or like Nutrafol? Like, there's all these things. Like, what do you know about hair growth, and what can we do?
I think a lot of those things work. The catch is usually just you have to keep using them. So I suggest starting something along those lines. I do feel like serums work better on retention and stimulating, but they're not necessarily going to generate new hair growth. That's more like something you're going to ingest, like a Nutrafol or a Rogaine. Rogaine's really aggressive. I have heard that you'll kind of probably get hair everywhere. Nutrafol seems to have like the
when you
most
take a
consistent.
systemic or when you apply it, like if you
when you take a systemic, that it can make hair grow, which is a good thing,
Well, it depends who you ask and where it's growing.
Totally. But serums, if you're like, I have hair, I feel like it's just clogged, or if you have a really clogged scalp or something, then serums are great. But if you're experiencing true hair loss, it's usually an inside out issue. So I recommend working on inflammation, such as like taking fish oils, vitamin D, iron's a huge component, getting enough protein in your diet, and switching to methylated vitamins that you're not necessarily processing well. And then apply something topically, whether it's as mild as a rosemary oil or taking something stimulating like the new skin or divvies similar to that. But yeah, you can attack it from both ends. I just don't recommend doing too many stimulants at once because you can't
Mm-hmm.
really track it and it could be too much at some point.
Yeah, and I want to also specify we're not talking about alopecia. Like alopecia is a
No.
specific autoimmune that is a different, and that's when you've got the patches of baldness or you're actually losing all of your hair. That is not what we're addressing here for this specific conversation. But I'm talking specifically about age related. We start seeing changes. So assuming your diet is on point, you have addressed inflammation and all those things. I know also a decline in hormones, and I know this part's not necessarily your expertise, Jess, but a decline in hormones can affect hair loss. Same with women that jump right into too high levels of testosterone. I don't know if you've heard that, but when you do too
Yeah.
high levels, you can actually lose hair too.
Yeah.
It's like
You
a
can
male
start to.
pattern.
Mhm. It's okay though. I mean, also if you're getting any type of autoimmune flare up too, I've seen it. Even when I had clients in my chair, if they were starting to thin dramatically, sometimes their thyroid was
Mm.
off, or if they had a PCOS or something like that, then it can be related. It's like I said, it's related to so many things.
I've also heard recently, because I know GLPs are really, really popular now, the weight loss
Yes.
drugs. And that I'm also hearing can cause some weightness. But it's my understanding, and this is not a talk about that, but it's my understanding it's not necessarily the GLPs doing it. It's the too quick, rapid weight loss and being
Yeah.
malnourished. So still going back to what you said, can also create us losing hair.
Yeah, I actually was on a GLP-1. Well, I'm still on it now. I'm microdosing, but when I first was more aggressive, I was really diligent about eating enough
Okay.
and keeping up on that. And I feel like that's why my hair, I didn't experience a ton of loss. So I do think that's the best proactive thing you can do if you're on a GLP-1, but that's definitely made it more across the board. I'm getting approached about extensions all the time because everyone's trying those things out and I think they're so great. But it is a side effect as you can have
Yeah.
some less hair.
What about, I know I'm going to ask you a lot about extensions. That's where I'm going to definitely lead into here. I have so many questions there. But before we even get into the extensions, like before extensions were even a thing, like, and I've been dealing with extensions for like 20 years. You weren't even born yet. I'm just kidding. I know you're in your 30s, but you were a kid. But back before extensions were really a thing, we still had issues with wanting to replace hair. What did you see in the hair industry going wrong? Like what's not supporting healthy hair as we age? Like I'm curious about how highlights or color, all of that is affecting it, or is it?
I think the high maintenance color is obviously affecting. So if you're bleaching, it's a vicious cycle. I don't believe that depositing color is as damaging. So getting your grays covered, I would keep doing that. But as far as the highlighting goes, especially if you're a dark brunette or
Mhm.
you're wanting to be a really light blonde, I'd be more conservative. I think we abused it in the early 2000s where we were just highlighting every 6 weeks. So anything you can do to prolong that, going more like 12 weeks with highlights and just doing, a root melt in between and just kind of getting used to lived in color rather than something right to your root.
Right.
That helps a lot as far as the hair industry goes. But topically, nope. I don't feel like any products are necessarily going to affect your hair loss because that's another thing that people need to decide. Do you have damaged hair or do you actually have hair loss? So hair
Yeah.
loss is what's growing and becoming more common, unfortunately, but not really hair industry specific.
Okay, but then when we talk about hair damage, and I want to ask about that too, because that also can make us look older. And you guys have all seen, if you're on YouTube, you see it. I have like massive breakage up kind of by my bangs. And the reason I have that breakage is from beating my hair into submission, like literally like taking a flat iron or taking a curling iron or whatever and really doing that. What do we need to know about heat tools and things like that?
So I'm really passionate about this topic specifically just because I feel like you can get really, really good results if you just go back to blow drying with a hair dryer and a boar brush. So
Why
that
a
used to be
boar
a lot.
brush?
A
Like
boar
what's that?
brush, it's more gentle. So it'll smooth out the cuticle, especially if you have frizz or some curl.
Okay.
You get the best results long time for a longer period of time if you're doing wet to dry styling. So if you're getting a blowout done, that's why you can go to dry bar and it'll last, 4 to 5 days rather than letting your hair air dry or doing a rough dry and taking a hot tool to it. It's similar to if you were to get your clothes steam pressed
Okay.
versus if you're ironing them. After you iron, the wrinkles will come back a lot quicker as soon as they hit humidity. But if you get them properly pressed, because it's a wet to dry process, it lasts a lot longer. And your hair's the same way,
Oh.
and it's so much less damaging. And boar brushes are great because it mimics, if it's true boar, it's a natural bristle. And so your hair responds really well to it. It absorbs heat instead of conducts heat when you're using a synthetic fiber in a
Okay.
brush. It's all those things come into play if you have naturally wavy curly hair and you're trying to smooth it out. So I'm not a fan of hot tools as far as a flat iron. Curling iron just sparingly, but picking up like those air curlers and stuff I think are
Yep.
great.
So I've definitely been doing all of this wrong, as I know some of you all. Like I literally do everything wrong. And then what I do is not only do I rough dry it, I'll then smush it with the flat iron, and then I'll take the curling iron and then I'll spray it with hair. I do all the things wrong. So that's why it's like straw right here. I'm very aware of that. But when is it all marketing gimmick when you hear things like ceramic flat iron or ionic flat iron or curling iron? Is that doing anything?
I'd say most of the time that's marketing, especially when I've looked into getting things made. It more has to do with the coating on the irons. I do feel like ceramic is nice. It's a little softer and forgiving.
Okay.
Basically, when you see a barrel that's really shiny, it has no
Okay.
protection on it. So if it's more of a matte finish, then it probably has a ceramic coating, which is just another layer of protection for
Oh.
your hair. It also glides through your hair a lot better. So if you're not as comfortable with a hot tool, start with ceramic. I feel like that's best. You really only see people using the shiny irons if they're professionals, and I think they're way less forgiving, so I wouldn't start there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so if we are gonna keep beating our hair into submission, we want a
Yes.
not shiny hair tool.
Yes,
And
grab
we
a
ideally
ceramic.
want and we wanna ideally first dry with a boar brush and a dry that makes sense versus doing what I'm doing, the rapid dry and then doing it.
Yep.
I think women as we age, like if I look at my daughter's hair, because she's 18, it is
Mhm.
super shiny, right?
Mm.
And as we age, I can see women's hair is not as shiny. Now, what is that from coloring grays or what is that?
So your hair's losing moisture. So the problem with a lot of the products, topical products out there, is that they are protein focused. They're biotin, they're keratin, and if you do too many of those things, even ingesting biotin, I don't
Okay.
recommend that. It dries out your hair. So with aging, you're already just getting drier in general. You're seeing it with your skin and everything else. So your hair's the same way. So if you're losing shine, put
Okay.
hydration back in. So using anything that's got oils in it, butters, like it depends on your texture what's going to be the most responsive, but in general, if you're at a store looking at something to strengthen your hair versus hydrate, reach for hydrate over strengthening pretty much every single time if you're aging.
And then you mentioned a bunch of the things that I realize now I'm doing wrong that have all the what were the ingredients like like silicone or is that what it is? The inherent the shiny stuff that's in products? Is
Well,
that's making it worse?
coating it with silicones is not great, but most of the products have biotin and keratin in it, and
Okay,
it's just
keratin is what it is. Yep.
yeah, and your hair is made of keratin, but too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So I would rather get your protein from your diet and then just with your hair work on hydration.
Got it. Okay. Talk to us about the extension history. Just to I know when I first got extensions, it was my gosh, 20 years ago, and I was embarrassed that I had them. Like I didn't want anyone to know I had them. It was a newer thing. At least I thought it was newer, and they were
Mhm.
these individual ones. And then I thought back even before that. I remember in the 80s and 90s, I had friends' moms who did wigs. Like they literally wore wigs.
Oh
It
man.
feels like extensions have become very, very common. Like anytime I see a woman in their 40s or 50s with long, healthy hair, I would say 9 times out of 10, it is some form of extensions.
Yep.
And I think it's very confusing to people. Like there's so many different types. Can you give us kind of like an extension 101, what they are?
Yeah, so there's DIY, which is something you do yourself, and
Mhm.
then there's permanent. So permanent was pretty much the only thing out there aside from clip-ins back in the day. And I do feel like the stigma is gone. It's not so much a secret anymore. We're sharing about what we're doing to look a certain way,
Yeah.
but and more people need it. It used to be more of a want. You'd get extensions if you were just being extra, and now it's I just want to feel normal, so I'm getting extensions. So In permanent, there's an array of methods, and it really depends on what you need specifically. So tape-ins, the individuals, which are keratin bond or I-tip, and then there's wefts. And wefts have really gotten popular because they give you the most coverage with the least amount of attachment points. The problem is some stylists will attach too much hair to those wefts, and it causes too much tension, which will give you, it just adds to your thinning problem. So making sure you're getting the right method that goes with your hair type and what your needs are, a very educated stylist helps. And then as far as the DIY goes, it used to be clip-ins or
Mhm.
wigs. There was nothing in between.
Yeah.
So halos came out about 20 years ago, and there was only a couple brands that started with that, and those were great because there was no attachment point, so it just sat
Mm.
on your head, which is great to not cause any damage. But there's clip-ins, there's toppers, which are basically like a partial wig, so it's not going to cover all of your hair. For some people it will, but the intention is to work with your hair.
Okay.
And then there's accessories like ponytail pieces and bang pieces. And there's been a lot of thinning categories added to extensions. So it used to be just a wig or a topper. Now there's like thinner, more modular options
Yeah.
depending on where your thinning is. And each brand kind of has its focus of what it does. But if you're shopping extensions, you should know that if you haven't found what you're looking for, it's probably out there. Just keep looking. It's just finding the right, the right fit.
Yeah. When you look at permanent extensions, what is your feeling on them as far as damage to our hair? Is it technique? Is it the kind? Do they damage if they're done right? Like that's very confusing too. Like some people swear it damaged all their hair, and some people say, I think for mine, it's like actually protected my hair. But I'm wondering your thoughts as a professional here.
So I think there's two sides of it. So it's the technique for sure. If you have a stylist just, being quick and not paying attention, of
Hmm.
course, that's going to cause tension. Let's say that you do have a good stylist. Most of the damage I feel like comes from just prolonged wear. Even if you're being gentle and it's just tugging in the same position for years, anyone should take a break. But what you don't realize is when you're heat styling your hair with extensions, your hair usually comes halfway down to the length
Okay.
that you chose. And where you're focusing, the curling iron or the flat iron is usually mid strand to ends. So even though you're not damaging the ends of your extensions, you're torching the ends of your natural
Mm,
hair, which can keep this vicious cycle going. So if you have extensions, just make sure that you are not doing that. And then you really should see a lot of growth with permanent extensions. It's more just if you want to invest the time and money into that. But if you cannot live without them, then I think they're great as long as you're finding the right fit with extension and stylist.
So when I've shared about my breakage here or my hair loss on the sides, some people said, "Well, that's your extensions," but I want to share my extensions don't even touch those areas. So
Yeah.
typically your extensions are like they start almost like above and behind your ear and go
Hmm.
around. So there is no extensions in that front area. So that's not the case with me. I have seen some pictures of what you're talking about though, where people use too many wefts on something or it's too close to the scalp or they're just not being cared for and it can actually rip your natural hair out. But it
Yeah.
sounds like that's really technique related.
I feel like unfortunately it happens a lot, but it is technique. So I would start there first before you decide I need to totally ditch these. But anything with adhesive, I would stay away
Mhm.
from, unless you are dealing with a educator like someone top notch. But other than that, if it's more of a bead with sewing, then eh,
Yeah.
just make sure they know what they're doing. Yeah, and stay away from where you're thin already.
Now, I doubt anyone's listening to this or watching to this that is like anti looking better for our age or hair because you would have tuned out at the very beginning. But in case you are still here, I just want to share from my personal opinion on aging is however you want to age is amazing. Like there is no right or wrong on how we age. What I think is very wrong and annoying is women judging other women about how they choose. So whether someone
Yeah.
wants to be all natural or do all the fake things, whatever, I think it doesn't matter. I think we all get to age the way that we choose to. It's a privilege we get to. So I want to just kind of say my stance on that. My personal opinion is women do look healthier, more vibrant when their hair is shiny and full. It's a noticeable thing. When I see dull, broken, thinning hair with it does age people. Just like I would say that about skin that's not taken care of. That's just it's my opinion. I don't know, Jeff.
Oh, I 100% agree, and it blows my mind how many women won't let themselves feel that way. I feel like when I'm consulting with people, that's the
Mhm.
first hang up usually is like, I mean, can I? Is it okay that I
Yeah.
want the longer? Is it okay that I want more hair? And it's like, yes, like give yourself permission because you only get, one life, one body. Like do what makes you feel good and honestly know that everyone else is doing it.
It's an instant makeover, you all, especially like if you don't want to do the lashes, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you go from the thin, dull, not shiny, breaking hair to like you've got more fullness, whether it's length or just more fullness, it is night and day how it makes a woman look and feel. And I say
Yeah.
feel because if you're more confident and you feel like it puts you in a better mood, you're better at everything. That's my feeling around it.
I 100% feel that way.
So this is literally not an infomercial. I asked Jess to be on this show because I'm so fascinated with her product line and everything. So it may sound like an infomercial for a minute, but I want to talk to you about the halo and topper idea because to me, this is a game changer, and I didn't really understand or know about this. So when you look at extensions, you all, one of the big issues with extensions, my husband jokes that I have a Ferrari on my head, and he's not probably too far from the truth. I mean, if you think about it, I've had extensions for 20 years. I probably do have a couple of Ferraris on my head. They're not just pricey, they're time consuming. Like you have to deal with them every few months or sometimes every 4 weeks, or it's like an ongoing process. I'll tell you, I have the wefts. If you're on Instagram or YouTube, wherever you're watching this, probably YouTube, you can see. If you're on podcast, definitely look on YouTube. But it's like these sewn in wefts. I have 2 rows of them right now. And for that specific kind, it requires you have to move them up every 4 to 6 weeks, and you have to totally replace them every 6 months. So the hair is there, but you have to do that. So what happens is it's not just the time, it's the money. So what Jess came up with, and this is really cool, and I want to show you first that you didn't know I was going to actually do this on video. If you're listening on podcast, you're missing out. So you might want to come back and definitely listen on YouTube too and watch here. So I'm going to show you guys. This is so funny. I'm going to pull it out right now. It's not a toupee. It's a topper. so Jess recently custom styled this topper. If you're not watching it on video, it's this hair piece that literally clips on your head the way you'd put a barrette in. So like these little barrettes, you can see that. And it clips right on, and it can make not just bangs, it can undo a receding hairline, it can create fullness, it can cover damaged pieces. And I'm sitting here doing this without even seeing myself on camera. I'm looking at Jess, but I'm just going to do it. It has a little part that lines up with your part, and it literally, you snap it and you clip it. And it has, but look at this. If you guys are watching, look at that instant shine and fullness right here, and even highlights. And it brought my forehead down a little bit. I know I probably didn't do that to your exact way, Jess, but I just wanted to show people how easy that was.
Yeah.
So tell us about this topper idea, because I was joking calling it a toupee, and you're like, it's not a toupee. Talk to us about the topper idea, where this came from.
Well, the topper's so great because at first people thought, I have to be like balding to need a topper. No, you just have to want more hair. So there's different densities, different sizes of caps. The one that you're wearing is our middle thickness. It's machine sewn, but we have hand tied options as well. So if someone's like really thin, I usually push them to a hand tied because it looks more natural on them. But that's a point, is that you have options.
Yeah.
And then we custom color them. So to get those highlights the way that they are, we had to start with a blonde piece and color it that way so that it would match. But that's the key to looking for toppers. You need something that's customized because it's on top of your head, so it's not forgiving and blending. But the topper's nice because it can clip onto your natural hairline. You can place it as far back or forward as you want. Or there's also topper bands that are kind of like a headband that you can attach it to if you don't want to put any tension there. But they're really easy to use. I feel like it's more of a mental game of I'm wearing a topper. You know?
So let me tell you guys why I got it. I got one of these. I got one for a couple reasons. One, I have to stop hurting those side pieces of my hair in front of my bangs. That's not amazing. So what I decided is if I do this when I want to curl or do that, it takes all that pressure off my natural hair. So it's not hurting it. The second reason I got it is I am self-conscious about my forehead. It's becoming a 5 head. And I liked that I could play with this. And actually, I'll have to get more from you because it's like a styling thing. You want to do different kinds. But I realized you can place it in different ways to almost make a different hairline or to add bangs. It's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So, but the other reason, and you didn't even say this to me, Jess, but this was the best thing ever. You know how if you color your hair, it's an every 2 or 3 week commitment. You start getting those grays. You don't have to do that. You can wait. You can cover it up with this instead of root spray, which makes your hair totally greasy and dirty. Do you have women that get it for that reason?
Oh yeah. I have women that are like, I travel a lot and my hair is great on day one and crappy after that. So I want to wear something that looks amazing all the time. And it's there's so many applications.
So it just snaps on. So you guys, I have kind of an aggressive one. Mine has a lot more. It's a full topper, but she has them that are smaller than this. So they're just the front
Yeah.
bang piece or just a small piece there. So it's just wild. I also like that you can play dress up in a way and be different styles and colors and without damaging
Oh
your own
yeah.
hair.
Oh
That's
yeah,
kind of fun.
stop ruining your hair and just do it with extensions. I mean, even if you had the permanent extensions, I'm sure your stylist was like, "Oh, let's just add more lightness here and not on, your natural hair." So people just got to open their minds a little more to the options.
So what do people do wrong if they hear this and they're like, "Oh, a topper would be cool," but you can just go on Amazon and find stuff. But what would be the problem with doing that, or just buying something on TikTok Shop or whatever?
Well, any hair extensions, but especially toppers, you're going to see a wide range in quality.
Okay.
So you definitely want real hair, human hair, ideally customized. If you're buying something just out of the box ready to go, I mean, if you're getting something cheap, just assume it's not real, even if
Okay.
it is not a regulated industry as far as wording. So if they say it's Remy hair, it's 100% whatever.
What does that even mean,
Um,
Remy hair, when people say that?
Remy means it's human hair.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that it's 100% human hair. It could be 50% and laced with
Oh.
synthetic. And you'll know once you've bought a few, you'll realize where the quality comes into play. If you're someone who's just a one and done, it was for an event, then maybe that'd be fine. But if you want something for, everyday wear, you want to invest in quality.
Okay, so now I want to talk about the halo. So the halo has been around for many years, but
Mhm.
it looks like this. It's an actual full set of extension it's like a fish wire. If you're
Yep.
looking on YouTube, you can see this. It's like a fish wire. Give us a little bit of background on this.
So the halo is nice because that is probably the most applicable to everyone. And if they're a little nervous about starting with extensions, a halo goes underneath your hair, so it's not visually as shocking if you were to do a topper if you weren't ready for that.
Okay.
So a halo is nice because you can place it underneath your hair. There's no clips. At least on mine, there's no clips. You don't need it. It's adjustable
Okay.
with the wire. So if you don't have any extensions in, it can give you just fullness, no length. You can add
Mhm.
a lot of length. There's a lot of options and density and length options, but it goes underneath your hair and it just blends in with your hair is the point.
Okay, so you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, I want you to see how easy this is. So what I'm going to do here, I have 2 rows of extensions. So Jess taught me to go, because I have 2 rows, I'm going to go under the first row. That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
The first row. So I'm picking up the first row of my hair and I'm just going to tie it in a little knot real quick with my ponytail holder just to get it out of the way. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll have a nice little show here. Then what I do is I slide this just like on top of this little bun. I just want to show you guys how easy. You could literally do this in a car while you're a passenger. I'm just going to put it on just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to pull out the ponytail holder. Voila. And I'm going to take a comb and just to pull out. Am I doing this right, Jess? I'm just going to
Yeah.
undo
Yeah.
my hair so it's not showing that fish wire. Kind of you're brushing it out. And again, I'm doing it kind of messy, but I want you guys to see how long and thick and highlighted it just added to my hair. Super
Quick and
quick.
easy.
Quick and easy. So what I figured out when you did this to me is the first thought, and I'm not fully committed yet, Jess, but my first thought was, well, why do I even need extensions? Like, what's the point? Why couldn't I just do this all the time?
Right.
However, I'm not there yet. So what Jess suggested was, well, you could go down, or actually our friend Shalene suggested this too. She said, go down to 1 row. It cuts your costs down, cuts the time down, and you could just do this when you want a little va boom.
Yep. A lot of people just want extensions to like feel normal and
Yeah.
unless you're married to the length that you have. But the one downside with permanent extensions is you're stuck with the length that you chose.
Yeah.
So if you went down to 1 row, then you could have more flexibility to add length with a halo with it and then just have more of an everyday length that maybe isn't as difficult to manage from day to day.
And I love this too, because look, it's like gives you this full ponytail or whatever. So the time of this recording, I had a surgery and I was offline for a little while and my hair was super dirty and gross. And it had definitely passed the day of you can get away with this. So we were going to dinner and I thought, well, wait a minute. I didn't have time to wash my hair and I didn't feel like washing it. So I instead not only put the halo on, I put the topper on top of the halo. So I was like, is it double fisting? It's double herring, I guess, double herring. I put it and I wore it all out and it looked great and it felt great. And I was always afraid, is it going to feel like a wig? And it didn't at all. It just felt like I had extra thick hair.
I feel like
Felt
most people,
amazing.
it's a mental game of like, does anyone gonna know? Like I'm wearing one right now.
Oh, you
Um,
are, I could see, you can't even
yeah,
tell. Like, okay.
yep. So it just fills out my length.
Yep. Yep.
Gives me like an inch, but I wear it just every day for more fullness because why not?
Did you have any real, like the permanent extensions in, or you just do the halos now?
No, I just do the halos. I was doing permanent for a long time and I installed permanent ones for a long time, but then I just like the variety of having different lengths and thicknesses. So this was
Yeah.
better for me.
So what about taking care of something like this? Like what's the maintenance on these?
Very minimal. So that's a huge plus if you're contemplating permanent extensions is that you only wash the halo specifically, you wash every 12 to 16
Mhm.
weeks. The topper, if you're wearing it most of the week, then I would wash it every 6 weeks or so.
Okay.
Just it's experiencing more elements, but very, very minimal. So otherwise you'll just store it on a hanger, put some oil on it. It holds its style really well. So if you have really fine hair and you're like, my hair, I can't, it won't hold, then lean on
Okay.
the extensions to hold your style because it will. So super easy maintenance. And then you only replace them. Well, it depends on how often you're wearing it.
Yeah.
But if you were wearing it every day, then you'd replace it every 12 to 18 months. And if it's less than that, then they last up to a couple years. So it just depends on the person.
Okay. So my biggest fear with the halo, so help you understand this, would be, and I'm
Mhm.
sure I know I'm not the first person to say this to you or ask, is that you're out, you're feeling glamorous, you got this great hair, and you go dance and it breaks and falls off. Does that happen?
No. No,
Okay.
no. I tell people as long as you're not going upside down, we should be fine.
Oh, or in a convertible, maybe? What a convertible?
Well, yeah, I mean, I rode mine on a roller coaster. I
You
just
did?
like, yeah, I just kept my head pinned to the back, but it didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
But like, yeah, so I wouldn't worry about security. It's a fishing line, so it's not going to come off.
Because it
If
would
you
grab a
were,
big fish. Is that, I guess
yeah,
that's what it
oh yeah,
means. Okay.
it's
So
really
it's
strong.
strong.
Worst case
Okay.
scenario, like if it's someone's wedding and they're like, I don't even want to think about it, you could sew a clip or two to it just to
Okay.
reinforce, but you don't need it. So it should not fall off. It's not going anywhere.
Do you have to have a certain length of hair to be able to use these, or a certain amount of hair?
As far as a topper goes, no, unless you are. It depends on how thin you are. Like I work with a lot of post chemo patients,
Okay.
and they'll it just you'll know when you're ready for a topper. Other than that, it really just needs a few hairs to latch on. And then with a halo, it needs to be, I'd say, close to chin length, but it really depends on how your hair's cut. So if you are like really thin on the ends, even though if you
Okay.
have a lot of hair up close, then you could probably go a little shorter. But that's a point of consulting is that I can tell you like, it needs to grow like another inch, or we can, but we can only add 2 inches. So there's just parameters.
Could a halo and a topper be better than a wig for people that have been wearing wigs and struggling?
So honestly, I've never worn a wig, but I do get that feedback a lot of I wore wigs and I'm so done with it. I'm want to wear a topper and a halo. So from customers' perspectives, they
Mhm.
prefer it. I don't know if it's just it breathes better or you have more options, but yeah, you definitely could fully transform your hair. I have clients that are growing out pixies and they'll do
Okay.
a topper with a halo at any length. I even have clients that just have tons of color variations just for fun, like platinum all the way to brunette.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of options
If
with
you
it.
were totally bald and doing a wig, like you've gone through chemo radiation, like this is something, or alopecia, could you do a halo with the topper with the band?
You with the band, yes.
Yeah.
So you'll know because the nice thing about where this attaches to is it kind of clears that whole
Mhm.
top center where you most people get the alopecia, and it attaches outside of that. So the topper band, it has a little slit in the front where you attach the front clip, and then
Mhm.
you do need the back clips, but if you're wearing it with a halo, you can attach the back clips to the halo.
Mhm.
So there's a way to do it. If you're totally bald, I'd recommend a wig. If you have some hair coming back in, it can be really short. It only needs to be like an inch or
Mhm.
two long for a topper and a halo to work together.
Hey there, if you're finding value in this episode of Midlife Conversations, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button and subscribe. And when that little bell pops up, you want to hit that. That way you are notified of all new episodes so you don't miss a beat. Also, you subscribing and liking helps others find this content. And this allows me to keep growing, keep getting amazing new guests for you, and to keep sharing. So, Jess, I know your company is Ensemble Hair, and we're going to talk about how people can do a consult there. But let's just say someone's like, okay, I was really interested in the beginning part of this conversation. Like they're like, I want to grow my hair. I'm really committed to that. Then maybe they got their eyes open about using a boar brush and the ceramic, and not the quick drying and all of that. They just want healthier hair. could this help with that transformation? Like, could this help protect during that?
Yeah, I would like to think that when you wear extensions, you are less concerned about your natural hair. It's if someone gets a really bad haircut or it's really damaged, then if they
Mhm.
just have the visual that they want in the mirror, then they're not as, neurotic about like, I'm gonna curl this one piece and I'm gonna do
Yeah.
all the things. Just leave it alone. So I at Ensemble, we talk a lot about addressing all the other concerns and healthy hair care, because even though we don't sell anything in that category, but just because it goes hand in hand. So our extensions aren't damaging. We also don't want you to be ruining your hair with other things that you're doing. So
Mhm.
this helps a lot because it's not putting more tension on your hair, and it lets you give your hair a break.
Okay, well, you guys, I'm convinced. I mean, I got not just the halo, but I did the topper, and now I'm already thinking. I texted Jess over the weekend. I'm like, my daughter's 18, and she keeps asking about extensions, and I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I don't want her to do that at 18 and then feel like she needs them forever. And also, my gosh, the time and the expense. But right away, I was like, wait, this would be a perfect thing for an 18-year-old because it is temporary. It is a lot less expensive and they get tired of it. It's like they're tired of it. Or they can change it out. Do you have that age group coming in for them? Or is that just
Yeah.
a
Yeah, my own 16-year-old, she has a halo because same it's crazy how early they want these extensions,
I
but
know because they're
this
in right now.
this and it's such a better cost-effective option, but it's the same way
Mhm.
that you're like, "Oh, I don't wanna start something too early," and then they kinda have this hair dysmorphia
Yeah.
of like, I need this." So I think it's important to have something that you view somewhat as an accessory, just for the
Yeah.
mental aspect too, especially with youth. But this is a great cost-effective option. It's not gonna cause any damage. It they are so hard on their hair already. They don't
I
really because
know.
they haven't experienced the damage yet. So the halos
Look,
are
you guys, I'm
nice.
taking it off as we're talking. Look, just boom.
It's like
That's
taking
it.
your bra off at night. Like
That's
you
it.
just let it go.
Just like that. I like
People
that you
want
can also hang
options.
it up. You can hang it up and style it. But see, this is what, so if you guys are looking on YouTube, you can see my natural hair color or my colored hair color that it is now is a lot darker. But what we did was we highlighted these versus highlighting my real hair. So it doesn't
Yep.
damage my real hair. So because when you put this in, it blends through, it just gives me all those lighter shades, which already made me think like, oh, I could do this with a red one, or you could do different colors. That's kind of cool. Do you have people
Yeah.
that do that and it's kind of like an outfit change? They have different.
Yeah. I have a couple clients that do topper and halo combinations and they have so many. They just don't
Oh
even
my
care.
gosh.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, that's fun. So they can change all the things. Can you take someone with my color, like dark hair, and do that? Can you do those extreme things?
Yeah, on my Instagram, one of my
Okay.
popular videos is that I pull my hair back into a ponytail and then I attach colors that are not even remotely close to mine, but I do a topper and a halo combo just to show that it does not matter
Oh, I need
what
to
your
check
hair
that
looks
out.
like underneath. Yeah, you can do anything. If you're trying to work with your color, then there's parameters. But even then, clients that are like, I don't want to color my hair for a year, give me like a fall option and a spring option,
Yeah.
then I'm a hairstylist, so I if you're sending me some inspiration, like we can do just about anything. The only parameter, and I do have to say, is that we don't have gray blends. So that's something that we're working on, but we don't have that yet. So if
Okay.
you want to if you want to
Yeah,
cover
that
your
would be
gray,
cool to do that, to have gray and silver blends. That would be cool.
yeah, it gets asked a lot. Honestly, I have a waiting list going for
Yeah, because
that.
I think that's actually pretty when people have their natural gray or silver, and it's long and thick and shiny and all that. That's actually a great idea.
Yeah, yeah. So other than
That's
that,
That's wild. Okay, how if somebody wanted to try this out and they wanted to have, because Jess recommends, and I do too now that I have them, is you want this custom for you. It's really important. So and I know you said you do them remote, but how does that even work? Like, how can someone do one remote, and how can you actually help them over Zoom or whatever it is if they're not in your chair in Arizona?
so we do everything through messaging and you're actually consulting with me, but you go on my website, I have a form that you fill out and it
Mhm.
gets you a response, immediately. It's a quick
Okay.
questionnaire and then I get pictures from you. I ask you what are you looking for extensions? Most people tell me a little bit of a backstory of, what they're looking for and why. And then I send examples for
Okay.
color. I send some videos of thickness options. I just start recommending and then we come to an agreement pretty quick because I feel like
Yeah.
I'm really good at knowing what people are looking for. And then if you need help, I have hundreds of videos on my website categorized so that if you're struggling with something, there's care videos involved and I'm always available if someone needs support. So they just message that same number and if someone's like, I
So
need help with placement.
So like, okay, like I just sent you one of my friends, Amy, went to you and she
Yeah.
said that she did a consult and she ordered, I don't remember what she said she ordered, but she said she ordered something. So what happens? Like, I know you custom color and do it based on video, but what happened if she gets it and it doesn't like fully blend? Does she take it to her hair person to style and cut, or what's the process there?
So for her specifically too, she's kind of undecided on where she wants to go with her extensions. And so because they're customized, I'm happy to make adjustments to them. I like to
Okay.
give myself room to do that. So what I told her is I'm going to send you this extension. We're going to color it conservatively to see what you think. And then I'll send it back to me and I'll add more
Okay.
dimension to it. If it needed to be cut a little shorter, more layering added. So you're not just going to get a piece and then it doesn't work out and you're screwed.
And you
So
could do that with them not in the chair. So they don't have to be there
yeah,
for you to help get
no,
that
we
right.
ship all over the world and we probably at this point do 5% in person and the rest online. And I can tell from a consult from the get-go if we're going to need maybe a 2 revision setup. With toppers, that's a little more common. If
Mhm.
they're like, I think I want this, but I'm not, or I think I want it to be dark, but I'm not sure. So then we'll be conservative with coloring
Mm.
because I can build on it. So they are final sale because they're customized, but I can make adjustments to the color and cut after they receive it to make it perfect. So having that's how confident I am in the support and that in making someone, happy is that I'm not going to leave them hanging high and dry with a piece that they have if the color's not right. So that's still
Okay, got
something we
it.
do.
Got it. You all, I highly recommend do a consult with Jess. How do they find you? Where do they go to do this? Because it's a free consult, right? It's a
Yeah,
free
no
consult.
pressure. No
Okay.
pressure. And some people that just want to find out information and then reach out when you're ready afterwards. Go to ensemblehair.com. You'll see inquire right at the top. You fill out that form and I reach out to you within minutes. Or you can also text Halo or Topper to 480-581-8242. And that also jumps the line as well. So
Say that number one more time and I'll put it in the show notes. But what was that number that they call?
it's 480
Uh-huh.
581 8242 and
And you
text
just
Halo
Halo
or Topper.
Halo or Topper. That's amazing. But don't write a whole thing because it's probably automated. So don't give her your
Yeah, I
life
mean,
story on the text. Right? Just
I can see your responses, but yeah,
okay.
the beginning of it is a quick questionnaire before I jump in.
Got it. Okay. Y'all, I think this is the cat's meow, the bird's wing. I don't know. I think this is so cool. I don't know. I think I had seen halos in a mall a long time ago, and I might have bought one when they were first a thing, and I didn't like it. They've come a long way. And I wish I knew about this a lot earlier. I think it would have saved me a lot of time and money. And y'all, I wanted to have her on here because, I'm trying to help y'all look and feel your best in midlife. And this is one of those hacks that I think is really important to know about. Jess, by the way, this is her business, Ensemble Hair, but she also has a salon in Arizona. It's called Jess Salon, where they do extensions and full service. So she's not against the regular extensions. I just like this as another option that's more affordable. You could change it up more, less maintenance, all the things. Anything I missed,
Yeah.
Jess, that you want people to know?
Just don't be afraid to ask questions. I feel like a lot of people don't start this journey because they think, I need to know more before I start. And you don't. Just come with your education where you're at and then just ask questions and know that there's never too many questions and I'm happy to help and you're not wasting anyone's time. So inquire and we'll just see where you're at.
I forgot to ask one important thing. Curly hair. What if somebody has really curly hair? Can you do that for them?
We can, as long as it's not like a coil. So that
Okay.
I always tell people that if I can see it right away, but like a natural wave or a beachy
Okay.
curl or even just most curl, it'll work because we can air dry and diffuse the halos and the extensions, or I can heat style them in a way to mimic your curl pattern. You just have to restyle it once you washed it. But yeah,
Amazing. Okay, and I will in the show notes, I'll link up Jess's information, but I'm also going to link up that OS01 OneSkin stuff because it did make a difference for me. Like it definitely made a difference on my side. I did not think it was working until I saw the difference. And then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I'm doing both now. So awesome. Thank you so much, Jess. And enjoy everyone. If you guys do end up doing a consult with her and you get it, please tag me in a photo. I want to see these. Tag me and Jess on a photo on your Instagram. I want to see how you look. Thanks, everyone.
love it.